Bear down, Bears fans. We're going to look back at some of the moves that Ryan Poles made on today's episode last season to put the Bears in this position that they're now coming into the 2023 season with, like the Roquan Smith trade, Robert Quinn. We're going to assess how Ryan Poles did at some of those trades and how that makes us feel about him as a GM as a whole. All that and more on today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. Also, like 50% of y'all don't be subscribed. Y'all just be watching. Y'all just be, I appreciate the view. I really do. Y'all just be watching and not subscribing, but y'all be watching every day. Hit that subscribe button. Stop playing with me. All right, let's get to the video. Here's the real thing, right? And when we look at some of the deals, I really wanted to go back and look at some of the deals that the Chicago Bears were able to accomplish last season and kind of assess, right, where we kind of feel Ryan Poles is as a GM, where we feel like how we feel he's done based on some of the moves last season, of course, the moves this offseason, and really just assess, one, are we winners or losers in some of these deals? And then finally, right, like, at the end of the day, how are we really feeling about Ryan Poles at this point? And I think here's where I start. I look at that Roquan trade. Bleacher Nation wrote an excellent article that really sent me down this rabbit hole where they talked about how much flexibility Ryan Poles actually opened up by allowing Roquan Smith to, well, no, it was a trade, by trading Roquan Smith and not having to pay Roquan Smith. And you look at kind of what the Bears end up getting back. They allow Roquan Smith to go to the Ravens. The Ravens give up a second and a fifth. That second and a fifth becomes Noah Sewell and Javon Dexter, two players that I think most Bears fans are pretty excited about coming into this season. Javon Dexter's kind of a wait and see thing because we want to see how he's going to adjust to that penetrating style versus Noah Sewell, who's just kind of right. And he's going to be another off-ball linebacker. Hopefully he's able to adjust as well. But then you also open up the flexibility that allows you to go out and get Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards. And for me, this is an interesting question because here's the one thing that we do know. Jeremy Fowler polled a bunch of NFL beat writers, fans, all of that stuff, right? And talked about kind of who some of the best linebackers were. And Roquan Smith ranks right up there with the best of them. He really does. He is a great player. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. People are like, well, he's this, but he's not this. He's a great player. He is a great linebacker in the NFL. Hear me when I say this. But at the end of the day, keeping Roquan would have been fine with me. He's a young piece. You can build around him. Boom. But you also go out and you go get Tremaine Edmonds, who to me, very similar type of player, different attributes, of course. But like when you look at production wise, to me, I see two guys that can be very similar in this Bears defense. And so I don't feel like you lost a ton. And then on top of that, you had the flexibility to also go out there and add TJ Edwards. You essentially added two players for the price of one. And at a minimum, you feel like it could be three with the second round pick as well. Hopefully Noah Sewell does turn into something that's a consistent piece on this defense. And we're talking about him being a player for a long time here in Chicago. But Javon Dexter's your second round pick. That pick is from the Roquan Smith trade. To me, I feel like the Bears, I don't want to say that they won this trade outright because you did give up a great player, but I also believe that you got one back in a different fashion and an end about route, right? Like it's basically opened up by the cap flexibility that not paying Roquan allowed. And you also were able to add another linebacker that we all think is really good in TJ Edwards. So at the end of the day, when you talk about winning or losing the trade, I do believe that the Bears come out on the winning end of this, but I can't say that Baltimore lost the trade either, because you got a great linebacker. It's kind of a win-win deal. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. What do you think about the Chicago Bears moving on from Roquan? Do you think that that's a winning deal for the Bears, or are you kind of like me where it's a win-win situation? But it's deals like that, right? Like the Robert Quinn deal's a no-brainer. Robert Quinn gets traded, we get a pick back. He literally never plays. I think he got in one, maybe two plays. He ended up getting hurt again, and so that's a no-brainer to me. The Claypool deal seems like that might be the one where we look at it and we say that's not a good deal, that's a bad deal. Hopefully, I hope that I was right about going to get Claypool. I hope that Claypool is able to take that next step. He's got all the tools to. He's got all the talent to. It's just about focusing in, honing in mentally on the game. But if we look at all of the moves that Ryan Poles has made, and even kind of assessing him among the other GMs in the NFC North, I think Ryan Poles could be one of the best GMs that we have in this NFC North as a whole. And we could be talking about him by the end of the season as one of the best GMs in the NFL, because you're talking about 2 years of a process where he's been here. He says, we're going to tear it down. All right, now we're going to build it up. I can't see a ton of moves where he missed. Of course, the early on in his career, early on in his Bears tenure, right? Trying to go out and get Larry Ogunjobi, tried to sign a couple of players that just ended up going back to their teams instead, who the team basically matches the deal. They end up going back, right? I look at those early moves maybe more as a detriment on his beginning to his tenure. But it's very hard to find faults with a lot of the moves that he's made. I mean, we're talking about maybe Claypool. Claypool is still a maybe. I feel Bayless is a bad draft pick, but that is also still a maybe at the end of the day, because Bayless still has football that he's going to be able to put on tape and show this season. And outside of that, it doesn't feel like Ryan Poles has made a lot of missteps. And I think that that's something that really puts this rebuild it's a rebuild. We tore it all the way down. This rebuild in the position that it's in right now. And I don't think that there's many GMs that can do this. I look at kind of even what's going on in Minnesota. They have this mindset of, we're going to do this active rebuild, this aggressive retool, I should say, right? Where they're trying to still win games, but they're also trying to retool players. And at the end of the day, you got Kirk Cousins. That's not going to look good, because Kirk Cousins is good enough to get you wins. How do you go out and get a top tier quarterback if you're still getting wins with Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson? You're trying to do this aggressive retool so that you can keep Justin Jefferson there. But at the end of the day, Justin Jefferson might end up leaving because you're not doing enough winning. And on top of all of that, you now have to pay Justin Jefferson, and you're going to have to pay Kirk Cousins again. Like, there's just a lot of factors there where, like, I just don't agree with how Minnesota's going about it. I like Detroit's rebuild that they've got going on, but at the end of the day, Detroit is also a team that is a year ahead of us, right? Like they're in a position that we're hoping to be in next season, where people are looking at Detroit and saying they're ready to win. They're ready to go for it. They're ready to, try and get a playoff berth, a playoff win for the first time in, like, I don't know, 80 years. You know what I mean? Like that's what Detroit's coming into this thing with, trying to get a home playoff game. A lot of expectations on their shoulders. I don't think the Bears are there yet. The Bears are in a win-win position right now coming into this season, and Ryan Poles has kind of done this really quick, where he's saying, listen, I expect us to win more. I expect us to be a 7 to 9 win team at a minimum, but there's not all of that pressure from the outside media for the Bears to take this leap. There's pressure for Justin Fields to take a leap, right? Like, at the end of the day, if you're a Bears fan, which would you rather have? Would you rather have Justin Fields throw for 4,000 yards, or would you rather have the Bears have 9 wins this season? I'm sorry. Would you rather have Justin Fields throw for 4,000 yards and prove that he's the quarterback of our future, right? Because there's some bad 4,000 yard passes out there. And on top of that, or would you rather have man, I messed that all up. Let me run that back. I feel like I had a stroke on that. as a Bears fan, would you rather have Justin Fields be a 4,000-yard passer and prove to you that he is the quarterback of your future, but you don't make the playoffs? Or would you rather have the Chicago Bears make the playoffs? We are Bears fans. We bleed bear down. This whole logo right here is built on missed dreams and missed hopes and no quarterbacks. So we all want the quarterback position at the end of the day to be the answer. We can figure it out from there. And even with that, right, if you have Justin Fields throwing for 4,000 yards, proving to be a really good passer, guess what? That's going to bring wins anyway. So for me, I just feel like the Bears are kind of in a position where their expectation is more on the development of a player still than going out and winning the Super Bowl. And that just makes this second year even easier. That's how you can get those surprise years. That's how you can get those pop-up years. So I have to applaud the job that Ryan Poles has done for the Chicago Bears team early on here. At the end of the day, I do want to know how you guys feel, man. Let me know in the comments below. Where would you rank Ryan Poles? How do you rank this Roquan Smith trade as a whole? I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. As always, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again to continue watching our Chicago Bears content. Click the links on the screen or check the links in the description below. And if you're only here for Bears content, make sure you sub to the Chicago Bears Breeze, because that is where we will be posting all of our Bears content. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down. Peace.